Welcome back, everybody, to Rare Elvis Photos. Hope you're enjoying the videos that are out lately. We just released I just released a video with Andrew, one of our subscribers, sending me an email, which was a very detailed email about his opinion on Priscilla, what he thought the new book might have in it, and yeah, you know, the thing is, I really like to showcase y'all when I get a chance to. If I didn't have a full-time job, I could do more content, but and the dream is, in all honesty, it would take a lot of subscribers, like not just a lot of members, not just subscribers, but the members that pay a monthly fee. It would take a lot of members in order for me to literally stop doing my full-time job. And I don't think that's ever going to happen. And I don't want anybody to pay for a membership that can't afford to. But just to give you an idea, I mean, I've got 63,500 subscribers. If there were it seems like a lot, and it seems like a little, but it's actually a lot. But if there was 1,000 members, then I could quit my day job and focus solely on YouTube. But I've got like 11 members, which, once again, don't feel bad for me or anything like that. I enjoy doing Elvis content, but that's just to give you an idea of why I can't be terribly consistent and do as many videos as I did before. When I started back up, and we are going to be reading some of this book. When I started back up doing my channel, I was on vacation, and while I was on vacation, I started reading a lot of books because I had a little bit of time at the beach here and there, and Lisa's book was out. I just have not been able to keep up that 3-month stretch that I had when I was doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos a day. Just can't do it. But maybe something happens. Maybe I end up getting 1,000 members or 500. Even 500 members would be about 600 or 700 members would probably be the minimum, because I do make a lot of money at my day gig, and it takes a lot of money to raise a family. Anyways, I've talked enough. Thank you to your subscribers, brand new, existing. Thank you to the members. Thank you to those that have left me super thanks. Andrew actually left me super thanks. I noticed that after I loaded the video. Appreciate that, Andrew. All right, so we are reading the Elvis and Linda, and well, really it's Elvis and Jeanne and Linda book. It's called Elvis, Linda, and Me, Collector's Edition. Jeanne Lemay Dumas is told to Jim Cox. All right. Luckily, Memphis experienced a freak ice storm and they closed the airport, and that was my excuse not to go back to work, back home. When I called my boss why I couldn't make it back to Rhode Island as originally scheduled. That night, we were all sitting around in the living room when Elvis told Lisa it was time for her to go to bed. "Oh, Daddy, I don't want to go to bed yet. Can't I just stay up a little more, please?" "No, sweet darling. I promised your mother I'd get you to bed at a decent hour. I don't want her getting me in trouble, right? Do you?" "No, I guess not," Lisa said slowly. "But can you sing me a song before I go to bed?" "Okay, honey," Elvis answered. "Should we let Jeanne watch us say our prayers first?" "Yes," she squealed in delight. And then looking at me, she said, "Come on, let's go upstairs to my bedroom." She ran over and grabbed my hand, and the two of us, along with Elvis and Linda, headed up to her bedroom. She was already in her cute little pajamas, and she and Elvis got down on their knees by the side of the bed. Now, I would have given everything I owned to have had my camera then, but I didn't. That was one of the most precious sights I've ever seen in my life. They were the two of them right there saying a little prayer together, one they'd obviously said a million times before. It looked like a Norman Rockwell painting with the two of them against the bed in the dim light of a single lamp bathing them in soft light. Now, y'all know that picture that's fake of Elvis and Lisa praying together. I think that's based upon this moment. It did happen, and I've got no problem, personally, myself, I got no problem with somebody creating a photo like that. There's a lot of people that get very upset about it. I don't. And I don't think Elvis would get upset about it either. It's using a real picture of Elvis and a real picture of Lisa, and I wanted to say pictating. It's not a word. Well, anyways, I'm off my train of thought. But it's taking two pictures of real people, putting them together as if it happened. Like, the pictures of Elvis and Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, it'd be great if Elvis... Well, anyways, let's just get back to reading. I'm a little out of focus. I'm trying to get some reading in before I have to leave for my golf tournament. And I'm a little late leaving already. But I wanted to get this read. And I want to load it from my phone to the internet before I get out of here. So, all right. So Linda and I stood by the doorway, letting the two of them have their special moment together. Then Elvis helped Lisa up onto her bed and tucked her in. Before leaving, he honored his promise to sing her a song. Now, I don't remember what song it was, but I'm pretty sure it was a lullaby. I recall being completely enthralled at the sight unfolding before me as Elvis Presley sang his daughter a song in her bedroom at Graceland that night. And I was fortunate enough to be standing there watching. Not too many other people can say that they did that. Lisa was the most adorable little girl, and I felt grateful being a part of it. Now, we did other things together as well. I helped her to learn to ride a sled. When the ice storm hit, everyone decided to go sledding down the front lawn. I kept noticing that Lisa looked like she really wanted to try it, but kept backing away when she was offered the chance. I finally realized that she was scared to try it and offered to help her the first few times. Now, to my surprise, after a few minutes of explaining how I wouldn't let anything happen to her and assuring her that she would be safe with me, well, she willingly got on the sled, and the two of us had so much fun flying down the middle portion of the front lawn alongside everyone else. She bravely held on, shrieking in delight, as we came to a stop several feet away from the front wall. After a few trips together, she gathered the courage to try it alone, and had become a pro by the time we all went inside, cold but happy. A little later that evening, Linda suggested that we take a walk. Elvis, Linda, and I bundled up once again and headed outside, just the three of us, with no bodyguard this time. Now, I don't remember how long we stayed outside. We walked all along the grounds of Graceland, with Elvis and Linda holding hands, and me tagging a few steps behind. Etched in my memory, where it will always stay, is the scene of us casually strolling around the brightest, clearest moon I'd ever seen, its light dancing magically off the crystal-like ice-covered trees that made up the enchanting and magical world of Graceland that night. We talked about nothing in particular, and everything in general, that evening. We laughed and delighted in small talk that can be shared only between people having fun. Now, it might have been cold, but we shared a warmth that only true friendship can give. While recounting this story, it's really even hard for me to believe I was fortunate enough to be there that night, said Jeanne. Now, we finally went back inside, and we joined everyone else as they continued to get in the Christmas spirit. I'd always heard the stories of how Elvis had to contend with what I would refer to as family freeloaders. This was my first-hand view of it. It seemed as if Christmas brought out every long-lost cousin he had ever known. And though some of them seemed nice, a number of them seemed to me like they were only there for a handout. See, Christmas Eve found Graceland filled with a number of people that Elvis barely seemed to know. It was the most uncomfortable scene at times. And my heart went out to Elvis, seeing him in that situation, but as always, he handled it very well and was gracious to everyone. Why in the world do I feel like I've read that before? Y'all have to... Yeah, I think I don't know why. So I'm just going to keep reading, right? We'll keep reading. Because there's some of this stuff that I don't remember reading and some that I feel like I did read. All right. I apologize if I'm reading something over a second time. But who can't get enough of Elvis even a second time, right? Alright, so spending several days at Graceland at Christmas time was beyond my wildest dreams. Just being in the house with Elvis was an experience that I can never adequately describe. And one particular event that happened while I was there was beyond description. I still don't fully understand what happened, but it's a true story. One evening I had been in Lisa's room and walking down the hallway with the intention of going upstairs. And as I walked past Elvis's bedroom, I saw both sets of doors were open leading to his room. I happened to glance into the room and saw him sit in the middle of his bed. He saw me at the same time and said, Hey, Jeannie, come here for a minute. Now, Linda was in her bathroom with the door closed, and I walked into his room and sat down in the corner chair, and we began talking. He had just received from a fan a large, full-sized cutout poster mounted on something like cardboard. kind of like this back here, in a way. The precursor to those. My wife got me that for Christmas a couple of years ago, by the way. It was sitting in the living room from Santa Claus. Alright, so it had been placed in his bedroom next to the TV near the foot of his bed, and he and I began discussing it. Our conversation soon turned to his deep love for his mother, and he began telling me the story of how she had died just prior to him being sent to Germany. She died when I was still in training down in Texas, you know. I came home on an emergency leave, and she was in the hospital and all, and she died in the middle of the night. I sure missed her all these years. She was the light of my life, said Elvis. His eyes misted slightly as he told me the story. Now I could feel a sense of pain and despair years after her death. He went on to explain that after her death he was eventually shipped overseas to Germany, and how hard it was to try to adjust to a life without her over there. He was in the middle of telling me the story about how he tried to cope in Germany, and that's when it happened. Luckily, I had access to a Jeep, and I would sometimes go off by myself and just sit somewhere in the Jeep and think about it for hours at a time. I drove up to some nearby mountains one night, and you know, just to get away, and I was sitting there thinking about her, and I began crying. I yelled out, "Mama." And when he said that word, "Mama," the lights went out at the house, like this. You're like, how'd you get to do that, Joe? I'll do it again. It's the automatic lighting of the camera. But anyhow, so this really happened. When he said the word "Mama," the lights at Graceland went out. They stayed off for a few seconds and came back on. And he went on with his story as if nothing out of the ordinary had happened. He had this look on his face as if he was totally unaware of what had just happened. He said it a second time, "Mama," and the lights went off again and came back on as if a storm had struck the house. The second time it happened, Linda came rushing out of her bathroom. What in the world is going on? Why are the lights going off and on? She wanted to know. Well, I did my best to explain. I did my best to explain to her what had happened, not really knowing myself, and she and I walked back into her bathroom, clearly shaken up, having no idea what had just taken place. Now, we've talked about that story several times since it happened, and still have no logical explanations for it. I tend to think, myself, Elvis was a prankster. That seems like something, I don't know. But, you know, here's the deal. Graceland. A lot of us believe in the spirit world. So, did that happen? Could it have happened? Sure, I believe it certainly could have happened. But I also think it could have, Elvis could have been pranking her. And Linda was in on it, shutting the lights off. Or maybe the guys downstairs flipping the breaker. You know, like maybe listen on the intercom when I say, "Mama, turn the lights off." I don't know. I don't know which one I want to believe. That Elvis was pranking her and having a good time, or whether Graceland was haunted by Gladys and she was shutting the light off twice. So, later she told me about another time, shortly after she had moved in with Elvis, when he was in the middle of a temper tantrum. She said he was ranting and raving, and while he was really going at it pretty good, just as he started into an unusually loud string of expletives, they heard the crash of lightning strike coming from the back of the house. Within a minute or two, she said, someone came rushing upstairs to tell them that lightning had struck the statue of Jesus in the meditation garden. Well, wasn't that statue of Jesus the one that came from Gladys's gravesite? It apparently caused enough damage that it had to be repaired. Linda said it had shaken everyone up, including Elvis himself. I think that's where I'm going to have to stop, unfortunately. But maybe I haven't read it. I kept thinking I'd read that section, and I'm folding it over. That's what I'm doing, the placeholder. So I had place held that last page, and I don't have anything back here. So I must not have read that. So maybe I apologize for nothing. Anyways, hope you have a good day. I'm going to enjoy playing some golf. And yeah, hopefully do well today, and if not, just have fun. I'm playing with some of the employees with my company, and got a much bigger tournament that I'm playing in with my boss, who's the CEO of United. Um, and anyhow, that's coming up on the 12th, so but it'll be fun. Do something fun today. I think this is probably the only video I'm going to get a chance to load today. I don't think I got time to do anything. I won't be back until this evening because the golf tournament takes an hour or so to warm up, about 4.5 hours, maybe 5 hours to play it, and it's an hour and a half away. So that takes my whole day up. But I will load another episode of Child Bride tomorrow, which is Saturday. I might record that tonight when I get home, and have it ready to load tomorrow, and then perhaps maybe I can get some Elvis and June or another one of these books read tomorrow as well. Tomorrow's another kind of busy day from me and my family. I'm taking my sons and my wife to a comedy show downtown Nashville. We're going to have some lunch. That's an all-day event, so I better get those videos done tonight and loaded on the channel tomorrow, or there'll be nothing tomorrow. All right, well, I've chatted enough. Thanks so much for spending some time with me, and let me know what you're doing this weekend. Let me know. Throw a comment down what you're doing. If you ain't got nothing to do, maybe somebody else will suggest something for you to do. Kind of like a game, right? All right, see you now. TCB, TOC.